talking about some of his ideas, solutions. And so with that, please help me welcome Buckley Merrill.
Thank you, thank you. So, by the way, yes, it is a reoccurring thing on Shane's radio show. The Muppet dance is essentially when you dance from the hips up, so you don't move anything from the waist down because Muppets don't really exist from the waist down, but that's the Muppet dance. So, first and foremost, if you really like what I show you, make sure that you thank Shane, because he thought it was valuable enough for you to hear and understand. Now, I'm going to be running back and forth with this little, so I'm going to be down here, I'm not going to be up on the stage, but, well, actually there's a few things where I have it timed just right for a few things, but how many of you have heard well, actually, this is one of the things that I timed. So basically what I'm going to be talking about is the submersion chart, and right at the moment, this means absolutely nothing to you. But first of all, before I do this, is it all right if I share just a little bit of a history of as far as why I'm sharing this with you instead of someone else sharing it? Way back when I was 13 years old, my mom, she sent me to a Youth for America camp, and it was a week-long event, and the textbook for that event was the 5,000-year leap. So I learned the principles, the proper principles of politics way back when. And then essentially between 13 and 23, I went around knowing the principles, and you'd see something on the news and say, okay, since I know this principle, if they do this, then it'll be good. If they do the other thing, then it'll be bad. And of course, watched the news the next day and they did the wrong thing. So I understood the principles, and essentially from about 23 to 33, I ran around trying to teach those principles to other people. And of course, there were many times, conversations into 3 o'clock in the morning, and guess what? That doesn't do much to help convince the other person of your point of view if you're talking at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't necessarily use that as your main approach. But I've done some things that work, some things that don't work, and ultimately I have a series of presentations as far as what works the best in conveying a whole bunch of information to other people. And that's where I have PolitiConomy and PolitiCivic and PolitiClue, and that helps people to know and understand more about politics. So PolitiConomy is the collision between politics and economy, and the first lesson that I do about this is called the submersion chart. Now, complete this phrase. So, okay, I heard a few people say that. So how about we do this all together? The rich get richer and the poor get... Oh, whoops, I should have underlined it farther. So I was going to wait until somebody laughed. Okay, so the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. How many people have heard that phrase before? Okay, how many people have not heard that phrase? How many people are not going to raise their hand no matter what? Thank you. It's fantastic. Normally I get at least one person to raise their hand at that question, so it's awesome. Thank you, thank you. So this is a big, huge common dilemma, and here's the big question. Why? Why do the rich get richer and the poor get poorer? Now, okay, and ultimately, yes, I'm going to answer that question. But there's actually two parts to this question, so go ahead and hit it. Ultimately, the main reason that the rich get richer is ultimately because they understand the proper principles of finance. Remember when I mentioned I went to the Youth for America camp and I learned from the 5,000-year leap and I understood the proper principles of government, the proper principles of politics? Well, rich people know and understand the proper principles of finances, and that's why it doesn't matter if the economy is good or bad, they're going to make money. So if you know and understand the proper principles, if the economy is good, well, because I know these principles, then I can make money. Because I know these principles, if the economy is bad, I can make more money. So people who know and understand the proper principles of finances, they're always going to make money, and that's why the rich get richer. However, That really doesn't affect most people, although it should. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome if most of us had the problem, what am I going to do with this extra $100,000 that's laying around? That would be an awesome problem to have. I'd build my thorium reactors in my backyard if that was the case. But beside the point. So what affects most of us is not necessarily this half of the equation. It's the next half of the question. So why do the poor get poorer? Now here's ultimately the premise. Actually, yes, right at the moment, I tried to get the audio to work for this little video. See, it says, feel their pain. So I'm going to show you a rather excruciating video. For freedom lovers, it's excruciating. If you're a power monger, you actually like to use this as propaganda. But there's a little video. I don't know how many of you have actually seen it before.